Our speaker today, let me introduce you to Kei, is Kei Kamara. Many of you know him as one of the greatest athletes to ever come out of the CCAA. He was the conference player of the year in 2004 while at Cal State Dominguez Hills. He was inducted into the CCAA Hall of Fame just a couple of years ago. And most famously, after 16 years, is currently 5th all-time Major League Soccer scoring list. What many of you don't know, perhaps, is how he came to be who he is, how he came to Dominguez Hills and to the MLS, and what he does to help others and give back to his home country. So without any further ado, this is the one chance you all have to turn your mics back on. Let's give a big warm welcome to Kei Kamara.
Say turn your mics back on. I like that.
All right, Kei, the show is yours.
Thank you, Mitch. Thank you, everyone. Like I said again, this is amazing to see this many people on here. Not what I was expecting, but with times like this that we have right now, this is the best way for families to get together, family reunions and all that stuff. So I really appreciate this platform, and I'm not nervous, but I'm a bit nervous because I don't know where we're gonna take this. But me, Kei Kamara, and from a little town called Kenema in Sierra Leone. That's where I was born, and really went through the civil war in Sierra Leone. And again, just been lucky, been blessed to be able to come out of that, and moving from Sierra Leone at the age of 14 and going into a neighboring country called the Gambia, and spend a 1.5 year over there as a refugee in a refugee program, trying to seek asylum to come to the United States. And so we were there in the Gambia while we're waiting for our names to be called up, to have this opportunity, because my mom moved to the US when I was 6 years old. She moved to the US hoping to open up a way for me to move to the US, but just a couple years after she left was when the war broke out. So those doors closed, and didn't get to see her until, later on. That's in 2000. But spent some time in the Gambia and just going to school in the Gambia and waiting for our names to be called up. Again, it was the lottery program where there's all the refugees, and we're all obviously have family members in America, and your name is in the big list of people waiting to get lucky to have the opportunity to move to, the greatest country in the world. And in 2000, it was October in 2000, that's when, our names were called up. And October 26th of 2000 is when I moved to America. And I lived in Maryland for a little bit. I went to a high school in Maryland called Springbrook High School in Silver Spring, Maryland. And I remember just my first couple of days and just being in Maryland. Again, it's October, and it's snow. I'm coming straight out of Africa where it's just warm and hot, and all of a sudden it's it's cold here. I'm not getting used to that. That's one. And there was this one day, the first day of snow, they said it's going to be a snow day, everybody has to go home. Love telling this story. And I was standing outside, and one, there's school buses. I'm not used to school buses. Two, we're all just standing out, and then just these little flurries starts coming down. And I'm like looking around me, making sure no one's paying attention. And I caught a couple of them, and I tasted it just to see if it's really what people say, with this snow and this ice. Just, a couple experiences that I had there, and no one was looking. So it was good. But later on that year in December, I moved to California so I can live with my mom, because I was living with my uncle first in Maryland. So while moving to California, to Hawthorne, California, and my mom lives there. So now I started attending Lunzinger High School, and going to Lunzinger High School. My mom's a waitress. My mom was a waitress. She works at Normandy Casino. If anybody is familiar with, the Carson, Torrance, Manhattan area, where Normandy Casino is. So my mom worked at Normandy Casino for about 15 years or so. And so the best way was my mom went to school. My mom went to work from 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. And there's nobody else at home. It's just me and my mom. And the best thing for me to do to stay out of trouble was to stay at school and be engaged in sports. So that's how soccer came about. But before soccer, I played volleyball. My favorite sports other than soccer, well, in front of soccer, I'm a volleyball player. So I played volleyball during that time that I moved to California. And then after volleyball, I ran track and cross country. And I always just try to keep myself engaged in sports. And I figure out that was the best way for me not to come home in after school, 2 p.m. or whatever, to be home because my neighborhoods wasn't the safest. So I stayed there until it was 5, 6 o'clock. So by the time I come back home, it's just nighttime. I have to stay inside of the house. And through those years, I mean, I was able to then go to a summer program because when I came late, and now I was 16, 17 years old going to high school, and I realized that it was going to be difficult for me to go to college. And that's where the college prep started working for me. So I went to my counselors in high school again. This is just, a 16, 17-year-old kid from Africa that's barely trying to get his foot in. My mom was working a lot, so I don't blame her for not being there. So I had to take a lot of responsibility on my own. So I went to my counselors and I asked them, what do I need to go to college? So they told me what it was and said I was too late. That's one. The only way to do it was to take some very advanced summer programs. So I went to Cal State Lutheran University for one of the summer programs over there. And so I can make up my grades for the times that I've missed. So I never really had like a break in the summer. So for 2 summers, I was doing that. So 2 years, I'm able to finish up high school. And but before that, so I wouldn't ignore my Cal State Dominguez story. Before that, I started searching to figure out where I can go to college. I'm playing soccer in high school now. I'm not getting any coaches coming to recruit me. So what I did, again, personally, was I typed up a letter myself to, it was CSUN, Cal State LA, Cal State Dominguez Hills, Lutheran, LMU, and to all these coaches and inviting them to come watch me play high school soccer. I said, please, come out, come watch me play. I'm playing for this school. Here's my transcript or my GPA and all these things. And no one responded. So, but I still applied to all these schools. And later on, I got accepted, to go to CSUN and to Cal State Dominguez Hills. But Cal State Dominguez Hills being so close to home, a family friend of mine took me over there one time just to visit so I can go to use the library. So while we were there, I loved it. And then I started just asking about Cal State Dominguez Hills. Then later on, my club coach, Bruce Myrie, who was coaching Manhattan Beach Hurricanes, who coached he coached at Peninsula High School. And Bruce Myrie introduced me to Joe Flanagan and introduced me to a couple of the coaches. And then they came to watch one playoff game that we had in high school. And through that, they invited me to go watch a game where Cal State Dominguez Hills was playing in the playoffs. So I showed up on campus at Cal State Dominguez Hills, and it was a playoffs game. Just the atmosphere. I think right when I got there, this playoffs, just the family environment that I felt. Again, I went by myself. There wasn't, a family member that took me. Again, I'm not blaming any one of my family members because they worked really hard, but the amount of time that they spend working, the amount of time that my mom committed to working so she can provide, motivated me to stay out of trouble and make sure that, I'm getting my grades and I'm following the right footsteps so I can get into college and stay in school. So again, when I approached the campus that first time and watched a soccer game, that's when I decided that I wanted to go to Cal State Dominguez Hills. Again, I didn't have all my credits from school. My SAT scores was not good enough because I started college late or high school late in America. So they told me I was going to have to redshirt my first year at Cal State Dominguez Hills. I didn't mind it. I said, as long as I'm part of the program. And they said, well, what you have to make sure you're doing, getting these grades and making sure that you have the grades. So when the time comes, you're ready to play. To me, it was just, another joyful ride for me to go about, in school and making sure that I'm getting my grades and making sure that, at the next year I'm available to play because I was really excited. And another thing that made me really excited being at Cal State Dominguez Hills was Home Depot Center, which was the Galaxy Stadium, was being built. So I committed myself to that, and I said, I actually want to play pro. This is when I decided at the age of 19 that I want to go play pro. It wasn't anything before. But the family environment that we had at Cal State Dominguez Hills really did help, has helped me to today. I have 3 kids and my wife, and it's really helped. And I keep in contact with most of those guys that I played with at Cal State Dominguez Hills till this day. I think if we all, have a reunion at Dominguez, we might have 100 kids put together, because I see all my buddies with, 3, 4 kids. But during my time at Dominguez, it was very good. I have to be honest. I remember one of the places that really helped me out a lot is, it's not just saying this because you guys are in here, but it was, a room called the room that we had as a study hall, where we go study, where we go, do our homeworks and stuff like this. Yes, it wasn't the most fancy building, it was this, little building on the side next to the athletic hall. So it's not far away from, the coach's office and all of this, so they can track you whether you're there or not. There's a lot of jokes around the place and all that, but I just felt like that space was really safe. I felt like even if I didn't want to do my homeworks at the dorms, because I knew the dorms was, a lot of fun. So the distractions was there. So, but having study hall, I knew that at least an hour that I spent at study hall, I can do some work in there before I do get back upstairs. Because when I go back to the dorm, it's just me and my buddies and video games and, all kind of shenanigans that's happening. So I really, really, appreciated that. It really helped me personally. And again, it helped really, building our family, not just the soccer family, because in this place we were able to interact with other sports, other athletes, so being in this area was, was really good. I mean, being in high school and these, different other maybe places, you see different sports, everybody's so, everybody's so separated from each other. But over there, volleyball, or, well, we only had women's volleyball. I would have played men's volleyball. Mel, you guys should fix that. But having the volleyball team and the softball team and the baseball team and, the guys with golf and everybody and the basketball team being around, like, we knew each other, we spent time with each other, and we talked about, classes or what professors to take and what professors not to take and stuff like that. So those things really help when we have those kind of environment and really, interacting with different athletes and not just, making it just soccer only or, volleyball only or, those kind of things. So I felt like that really helped. And to me, again, the coaching staff, Joe Flanagan, Jeff Turtle, and the grad assistants that they kept bringing around, obviously were people that were really committed to the program, people that really helped. I knew Mel since, my days at Cal State Dominguez. So I was there from 2003 to 2006 when I got drafted to go pro. Again, my pro career, I don't want to really talk about it much, but I believe really, again, it's not because you guys are here, but I know the preparation that I had from high school and, Bruce Meyer introducing me to Joe Flanagan, and then going to Cal State Dominguez Hills, and the family that I had around me at Cal State Dominguez Hills, the older players or the senior players that were there, the way they carried themselves on the field, off the field, and, like, for example, Victor Guerrero or Javier Barragan, Alex Bengard, that did end up going pro. So later on, that became my vision that I want to play pro. So those, the footsteps that those guys took really helped me push myself to knowing where I wanted to go. And I had a lot of conversations with people around there. Again, teachers were great. They really helped you out. One of the things also that helped me out as a person was not just playing soccer and going to school, but I got a job, and I got a job working at the stadium where the Galaxy played. So all these things I'm trying to adapt to being in America, being new, and at the same time, going to school, having homework, having soccer, and then getting a job at the Home Depot Center. But it was all good because I was working around sports, and working around sports was really helping me out. So I can really adapt into the system. So in 2006, again, fast forward when I got drafted, now I'm at, to Columbus Crew. Ziggy Schmid, may his soul rest in peace. He was the coach that was with the Los Angeles Galaxy. and really encouraged me where I was working at the Home Depot Center. And every once in a while, he would invite me over to come train with Los Angeles Galaxy, or Bob Bradley would call me over to train with Chivas USA. And those things really helped, but again, and also us, like maybe this season, having our spring season. I know most of the guys are missing some of these things, having our spring season and having to compete with, schools from, NCAA schools, and those kind of things really did help, the preparation for the next steps that I was going to make. So before actually I went pro, my last year at Dominguez, I decided I wanted to leave because all I was hearing was you can't go professional if you're playing Division II soccer. You cannot make it. So I went to the coaching staff and I told them that I'm ready to move on. Thank you very much for everything. So I went on recruiting programs at the LMUs, the UCLAs, and called like UConn and those places. But when I went to these recruiting programs to this couple schools, I didn't feel the same connection. I didn't feel the same family environment that I had at Cal State Dominguez Hills. So it was me again that turned around and came back to Joe's door and knocked on his door and said, Joe, I'm staying here. I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure that, I represent this program right at, it's crazy I'm saying that now, but I represent this program right in the professional level. I want to stay here until I make it. And that's, and he was happy and I was happy he welcomed me back into the program. And, again, that was 15, 16 years ago. But I really appreciate everything that everybody did for me in that program there. They might not see it as much. I didn't play all 4 years or graduated from Cal State Dominguez Hills, but I'll tell you that my, 2.5 years that I spent at Cal State Dominguez Hills really prepared me even till this day. Again, that's why the connection is still there with me and these guys. We talk all the time. I call them for advice. Right now, I'm a free agent where, I still call Joe Flanagan and, just want to talk about life and say, I'm 36, a free agent, what if I don't get to play again? What should I be looking forward to, as a person, as a man? And I have 3 kids and all these things, so it's not just them calling me and, cheering me up because you scored a goal, but, really telling me about life and the reality of, how things does happen. But another thing that I, playing professionally that I really, really love and have really taken is just my Heart-Shaped Hands, my foundation work, giving back to the community, giving back to my community, Sierra Leone, where I come from. Because being professional or even starting at Cal State Dominguez Hills, I remember we used to go up to PV and coach these little kids, all the time in the little clinics that the coaches were run. And I enjoy those things. I enjoy being around kids and making sure I'm giving back, because I knew when I was a kid, I was in a war-torn country. I didn't have that opportunity. So then I started playing for my national team. And when I started getting so connected with Sierra Leone, I figure out I need to find a way to help and give back where all these kids following us. So this was where I decided, okay, I'm going to create my own foundation, and Heart-Shaped Hands is how I celebrate. So I decided to go with Heart-Shaped Hands Foundation. And the reason why is to use my heart and using my hands to give back to my country, Sierra Leone. And so that's how I really got connected. And it's just been a blessing. Every time I go back, I'm there all the time. I just came back from a 5 months trip where the whole month of December and January, I was doing little clinics. So what I'm trying to do, again, sorry that it's not the CCAA slogan, it's the NCAA slogan saying, not most athletes are going to make it. We're going to make it pro in something other than sports. So I want to empower most of these kids out in Sierra Leone to know that, because the pathway is either you play sports or you're going to school. No one is trying to like combine both. And some kids are really talented, but their families are not letting them participate in sports. And so there's like, so most of the kids are either forced to drop out or just go to school, and that's all you can do. But I'm trying to empower most of these guys to let them know that you can do both. And if you're lucky, hopefully some of them, you will get scholarships, that you can go to school. But this is not for you to be professional. This is just to prepare you for life, because at the end of the day, most of us are not going to make it to the professional soccer, but you can make it pro as a teacher, as a, a doctor, a lawyer, engineer and all these different things, but can you use sports as that platform, to get you going? So that's what HeartShapedHands is doing. But to me, Kei Kamara really, sorry, I'm referring to myself, but playing professionally for 15 years, I've really just enjoyed every minute of it. I've played in England, and that was such an experience. It was a dream, really, because I sit here in my living room and I watch soccer all the time with all my buddies when we're at the dorms, waking up early in the morning to watch games, and then to finally get the chance to say, you want to play in England. It wasn't that I was doing it for me. I was doing it for my friends that I grew up with, so they can appreciate it. They can watch games and say, that's our buddy doing that. So when I get those messages from them, that's all the motivation. When I get messages today or all these times and saying, we're watching your game, those are my motivations to keep going. It's not about financial motivations or what you're doing, but really to make the people that have helped me throughout my way happy. I want to make them smile. I want to make them proud. So but yeah, I'm sorry that took like 20 minutes, but that's me. So let me just leave it there, please.
Well, Kai, that was an amazing story, and I don't even know really where to start. First, so you went how many years? Your mom moved to the States. How many years between when she moved and when you were actually able to be with her again?
Yeah, I joined my mom in 2000, October of 2000, and she left in 1990.
So 10 years.
Yeah, so right when the war kicked out, that's when she left, yes.
And then when you get there finally, you're on your own most of the day. It sounds like.
I saw my mom on Sundays, because on Monday to Friday, I'm constantly, when I wake up in the morning, I give her a kiss. I go to school, I stay there. I get home, she's already at work. On Saturdays, they pick me up for soccer. On Sundays, then she's home, and that was our routine for 5 years when I lived with her.
So you grew up pretty fast.
Yeah, but again, it's the blessings of being in a good home. And yes, it was just her, but what I knew she did, was work to not only provide for me, but for our family in Africa. So by those things, I couldn't do wrong. I figure out I have to do right, because those are the motivation that, I can't go bad. There's no way I can't go bad. She's working too hard. Now I got to do my part.
That's just a really key message. So certainly if anybody has a question for Kai, you can feel free to put it in the chat box, or just, I can't see everybody because we have about 3 pages worth of people. Just feel free to chime in. Otherwise, I'll just keep kind of asking questions of Kai and see where it goes. Trying to see what I got to put my glasses on, I'm sorry. Okay. So let's go back to your foundation, because the idea behind this particular presentation is community. That's one of our values in the CCAA, and giving back. And, obviously not any of us other than you. You're the only person in this room that's a professional athlete and has that status. But we all have the ability to do something to give back. How did you get to that point where, obviously family is very important to you. You described it, your mom, you described Dominguez Hills being a family. And so that's why you decided that you wanted to do something back in your home country. How did it even get started? How did you come up with the idea? How did you generate that process?
Yeah, it was really just being, again, sports have really helped out, but just being involved with teams and involved in programs that actually gives back to the community. Because again, every team that I've played for, which it's a lot in MLS and college I've put together, but every team that I've played for would tell you that whenever there's a community outreach, whatever there's something about, something charitable that they're doing in that city, I'm the first one to put my hand up saying I want to be part of it, because I love being around kids and just seeing the joy and in them, because I'm a big kid. Like I want to continue to do that. So being involved in the community really did help out. Now, as much as we're doing with whether it was Columbus, Kansas, Houston, and all these programs, as much as we were doing, that was what motivated me to say, why not, try to give some of these things back that you're doing here to those kids out there in Sierra Leone, because they don't have the opportunity, that most of the kids here does have. But I copy almost the same things that we're doing here. For example, when I do, our clinic that we just did in the holiday, when I introduced the clinic in Sierra Leone, funny story is I had nurses and doctors reaching out saying, hey, can we help out at the clinic? And I said, no, it's a soccer clinic, which is just about us getting kids and, us registering mostly school going kids and bringing them together. So at the end of the day, when the video went out of what we did, they were, okay, that's what you meant about a clinic, like a soccer program. But definitely with the community work that I've done here in America for the past, again, 15 to 20 years, if I have to count, and being in college, it's really has helped me structure Heart-Shaped Hands work in different communities in Sierra Leone.
And now you said you're 36 years old and you're a free agent. And every athlete faces this, whether it's at the end of their high school career, like myself, or end of their college career, or the end of your professional career. At some point or another, you're not going to be an athlete. I mean, except for a weekend warrior type of athlete. So obviously the foundation is one thing, but what else do you have, in your mind as if you don't get picked up, what's the next step? Are you going in, interested in coaching, or are you interested in something completely different?
Definitely. I'm taking over Cal State Dominguez Hills. We got to win another championship. Boom. Let's go. No. It's, I mean, I'm happy that, again, the people that have been around me for so long that I've learned from, that tells you that your post career is longer than your playing career. Think about that. Always think about that. So that can prepare you. And I'm lucky and blessed to not have had, in my 15 years, 16 years career, an injury that put me to the side for, more than 3 months or 4 months and any of that. So that's also a blessing that I was able to carry it along. But yes, there's a reality to it. My goal, again, was to play until I'm 40. So I dedicated myself being in Cal State Dominguez Hills and starting pro, that I wouldn't drink, smoke, or do anything, because I want to keep my body pure, because I want to play until I'm 40. So I'm 36. Even till last year, I'm still thinking, yes, I'm going. But then reality hits, COVID comes and all this stuff. So now it started to restructure of the way I'm thinking and how I'm preparing myself. But it's good, because in the past 4 years, one of the things I wanted to do was acting. In the past 4 years, I've been doing my acting classes and courses, and in person, online, and all these things, and really trying to get into it. Broadcasting is another thing. Again, I'm just, being open. Coaching, obviously, for a player, most players think about that and you want to do it. So I was supposed to be in Wales to do my coaching license. Again, with COVID, that, got canceled. Again, I was trying to prepare myself at 30, at 35 to get ready for 40. But then now it's fast tracked on me in 1 year, but still looking to play. And if that doesn't work, if I don't play, my Heart-Shaped Hands work that I'm doing, which again is on the back end now, to there's a bigger frame of stuff that we want to do in Sierra Leone. It will be something that I step into trying to help. But my dream of, acting and, coaching is one of those where I feel like you cannot absorb this much knowledge and energy. When I go watch a game, when I train with, even now when I'm playing on the field, it's so hard to not stop someone and be like, okay, no, the way you do it like this. So I'll be cheating the game to feel like I'm not giving back to the game if I don't, do coaching at some point.
Questions from anybody? Let's see. Gilbert says, speaking of acting, I was a classmate with you in Charles Walker's speech class. Were there any professors on campus that motivated you like your coaches?
Yeah, a speech class. Oh my God, that's so long. I think that's the class, actually, the first lesson I learned in that class. So again, I learned, to be like well-spoken or speak English kind of clearly, like late. So I remember having to do presentations in class. And when I did a presentation in that class, I was I was using too many like code words as I was describing stuff. And that was the first time I learned when they say, what was this phrase that he said to us? It's like, just know that whatever you want to do, you're not gonna make it, and you have to accept rejection. If you accept rejection, it's the only way you can move forward. But when you don't accept rejection, it doesn't motivate you to, wanting to achieve more. And I thought about that being young again, as a person, not as an athlete, and just think about, what do you mean about accepting rejection? I went and talked to Mr. Walker actually, and it broke it down for me very simple. It's like, that girl you like? I'm like, yeah. It's like, you go to her and then she says no. You can either do one or two things. You can just, talk back to her, or you can just say, okay, that's not for me. I can try somebody else, So then when you broke that down to me, I go, okay, so basically that's what it is. When we accept rejection, then it does prepare you for the next step and the next step. So that was one of the most important lessons that I learned back in the days then.
It's kind of like learning how to lose and win. I mean, everybody can be everybody knows how to win, but knowing how to lose, because you can't win every time.
Don't want to be a sore loser, right?
Right. So back in the day when you were sending out all those recruiting letters to the other schools, did you contact Coach Zemer? Because if you did and he didn't contact you back, I've got a little problem with that.
Coach, I wouldn't say if I did, Coach.
He didn't. But ask him how the 2005 CCAA final in Turlock went.
I actually don't remember. The problem is they call me the headmaster in MLS, and I head the ball a lot, so I don't remember much. So
that's a good answer there, Kai. I just messaged Joe Flanagan, Jeff Tuttle, and Jeff Tuttle said some very nice things about you.
Thank you. Those competition, snowmare, and it was great. Really, some of the greatest times that I've had playing. The smell of fall, it doesn't come around without thinking a soccer season, in college, seriously. And those trips, those bus rides, going that way and playing those games. I mean, it's great. And I really wished I could be more involved, even like as an alumni, like being back in campus and being back in alumni games, or just again like a CCAA conference, CCAA conference tournaments. How can some of us be a part of those kind of things, or even be over at one of awards ceremonies and be a part of it? Because I really think some of us, not just professional athletes, but what you guys are doing right now, that have had this knowledge and been in the real world, really has to use the platform to prepare, the next people that's coming up in the world, to let them know, some of the things that we've experienced, and hopefully some people can pick something from it.
Did you say that you had another year left? Because if you send me an email, I would definitely bring you back.
I think my eligibilities are still up. So, but I don't know what the rules are with professional. So if you retire early, can you come back?
We might have to change your name, but
there might be some new COVID rules that we can apply and get you back to Dominguez Hills.
He's not playing for you, Marcus, just so you know.
Campus anytime you want to be involved in what we got going on, please feel free to reach out.
Hey, Marcus, he's not going to be a seal. I'll tell you that, though, man.
Yeah, well, we have our allotment of Sierra Leone players. So, sorry, Kai, I'm gonna have to pass.
Well, it's okay. I'm American too, so we can just use that to fill in the American tag. But no, great. Can you describe the lifting bike?
Okay, Jess, you want to just ask that question out loud?
Sure, why not? Because most of us, Kai, are U.S. citizens and have only been here. I'm kind of curious, like how it was living as a refugee, what lessons you learned, how you took those lessons, to get to where you are, and then maybe a little about Sierra Leone and what it was like then and what it's like now when you go back and help.
Yeah, no, thank you, Jess. again, moving into a different country was an experience. But when you're a kid, you're just happy to travel. You're just happy to be around other kids and making friends. So being in the Gambia, again, it's a very tiny country. And, I was able to go to school while we were waiting there as refugees. So what we do is, again, we went to the Gambia under a program to then hopefully have an opportunity to move to America. So every week we would have to go in to go check at this office at the State Department in the Gambia. There will be a list. So, and every week we'll go there and just look down this list and try to see if our names have been called up. It's really tough because, again, as a kid, you're just, hoping, again, you've heard so much about America that you want to move to America. But being there, I think my mom was in the States. So my auntie that was taking care of us, they were more stressed than us because they knew we were in a different country and what we wanted to do. But as kids, we were at school. We were at school playing. We were at school with friends most of the times. But when we did then come to America, I mean, I just remember again, then going into the immigration office all the time and then finally getting, my citizenship. But I feel for other kids in other countries when I hear about refugees, because I know how depressing and how hard it is. Most of the things that's happening, us kids, when I was a kid, didn't have anything to do with the Civil War, but I was, affected so much. And all I wanted, again, was to be happy. And I'm so happy and so blessed to feel like now, I was able to come to America and have the opportunity to go to school and play in professional sports. But there's so many that's, refugees and, where there's food and all these things that are struggling or, doors being closed in front of them and all that stuff. So it's definitely harder than what I experienced as a refugee, because I was still in Africa, just in general, around, some of, my peers. So they look like me and all that. And, we talked almost the same. So I was fine with that. But the opportunity to really be able to move and come into America and seeking asylum here, seriously, it's a blessing.
Kai, go for it, Matthew. Go, Coach.
Kai, I work at Cal Poly Pomona now as the head men's soccer coach, but I used to play against you back in the day. You beat us a couple of times, but we also got you in the playoffs and knocked you out. And if you don't remember, you missed the penalty. That was Josh Wicks that saved it. Joke about playing days was you're an inspiration, first and foremost, to a lot of Division II players in every sport, but most particular in men's soccer, because I think a lot of people say what you thought at the time is that you won't be able to go and play professionally out of Division II, and you won't be able to do all these things after. And if you look at the top 5 MLS goal scorers of all time, it's you and Chris Wondolowski that both played in the CCAA. So I think from our perspective, the CCAA is proud of you. I know you played at Dominguez, but the CCAA is proud of you. I was happy to play in this conference, brilliant conference. My question really is this. One more thing really quick, is you're an inspiration off the field in terms of the community stuff as well, because we have a player in my program right now called Eugene, who's doing exactly what you're doing, but back in Belize. So he's working in the community and helping his own community. So I know he drew a lot of inspiration from you. So great job with that. My question is to Division II athletes and also to Division II coaches. Why should they attend institutions in Division II? And why do you feel like Division II can make you go professionally, but also teach you the lessons that you can use in the next level of your life?
Yes. Can you guys hear me? Okay, good. Matthew, wow, he really hit me with the bullet there, talking about missing penalties. Like I said to Marcus before, I do not remember. Those things are so long gone. Family, dude, I'm so happy you brought that up. But talking about Josh, Wicks, like, this is somebody I speak to every other day. and tracking each other and motivating each other. You know, somebody that obviously has gone through some hard times, and you know, I'm happy to call him a friend and being there for him. But we didn't play at the same school, you know, but we still share those memories of saying, you know, you blocked my penalty during those times. But I mean, it's great. It's great. And those memories really, you know, I really appreciate you and thank you very much. And Eugene, I know I saw you put something in the comments before. Thank you again. Let me not just be your motivation, but you know, definitely what you're doing will help the next person that's looking at you, and you know, so we can move it forward. But Division II, it's a mindset. It's a mindset where I set my mind and knowing, you know, what my mom was doing to say, you know, I'm going to stay out of trouble in LA, in Carson, in Carson, or, you know, in Torrance or Hawthorne. I want this. This is what I want. So it's a mindset. And what I believe with the Division II program, you know, really why I came back and said I want to stay, it's that family environment. It wasn't really much about the lot of money program, the big, you know, money school programs, and, you know, the big campuses that has all this, or the big name coaches and stuff like that. But there was that, what they built in Dominguez before me. Again, that's Dominguez, but then now even I share stories like you're talking about me and Wondolowski does, you know, we talk a lot, and or some of the guys that came from Bakersfield and all those stuff. But how the programs are built before we even got there, you know, what the programs are like. So then when we come to these programs, it's not, you know, what I'm bringing to the program. No, it's what I'm taking away from this program because of what, you know, they've built, the culture that they've built. So to me, it's really about that. That's what prepares us not to go win championships, but to prepare us to become human, a better person, you know. And to me, that's really what I took away from all that football, or you know, talking about soccer. It's a lucky thing for me to play, or somebody to go play pro, but it's really the life lessons that, you know, you can learn through these coaches and, you know, and professors at these places that can really prepare us for the next step. So if I have to, I have talked to a few players that have messaged me or called me and actually extend my numbers to some random people and say, yeah, call, let's talk about it. Like, I want to go to Dominguez, or I want to go to, you know, LA. What do you think? Should I try to go to a Division I school? And I asked them about their academic programs. I say, oh, how are they academically? And then what it is, what do you want from it? What, you know, what's your goal? And through that, I really think when you're recruiting players and recruiting people to come to your school, that's how you know if those people are the right people that comes to your school, comes to your program, because you have these programs that's a culture, and you don't want to bring, you know, something in that's not, you know, gonna fit the culture. But hopefully if they do come in, you're able to mold them into a better person, so when we're leaving, we're a better person than we were before.
Kai, I don't know if you're old enough to remember a show called This Is Your Life, but I think Mel has something that he wants to share here. Mel, are you able to share screen, or do I need to make you the host?
Maybe make me co-host. Let me try it real quick.
No, I don't remember. I'm not that old. Come on.
Let me see if it works. Oh, we're good.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Kai, you know, obviously we still have more questions for you, but we wanted to say thank you for joining us today. We know you have a lot on your schedule, but I wanted to just show you this and share with the rest of the folks on this call. We put together a little, this is our life, or this is your life, as Mitch said, just a trip back in time of your career at Dominguez to now. So Kei Kamara, once a Toro, always a Toro.
Thank you.
There you are as a freshman, redshirt freshman, 2004, man. You look almost exactly the same, Kai.
Oh my God.
There's some action shots of you, two in what used to be Home Depot, probably against Grand Canyon back in the day. I didn't have any pictures of us against Sonoma because I know Marcus would have loved those as well. But this is Kai when he won the 2004 CCAA Player of the Year with our former 80 Ron Prettyman. We hosted a conference tournament that year. It was great watching you play. I mean, when, you know, during your 2.5 years, I had the privilege of being there throughout your career at Dominguez. Your sophomore year, you have that edge about you, you know, all sophomores do. So you're looking good, Kai. Against SPU, remember that goal?
Boom.
Overtime.
Overtime.
And Nick Repetto's back celebrating.
Nick Repetto.
We hosted that as well. What a game that was. Led to our West Region Championship. This is you being selected 9th overall, 2006 MLS Super Draft. And Kai, whenever you are in town, you always come back and just show us love. And I just have some photos to share of you coming back and doing just that. Talking to the boys on one of your first visits when you were with
Vancouver. Yeah.
Vancouver, thank you. My eyesight's kind of bad at my age.
Okay.
With a lot of the staff at Dominguez. A lot of them are on this call right now.
Family. They're family. They're not staff. They're family.
No doubt. I know Kim and Sarah. I saw Kim and Sarah. Then I know Dina's on there as well, our new AD. With the women's soccer team, Coach Kano. With current head coach Eddie Soto.
That's right, Eddie.
Your most recent visit. Also with assistant coach Stan Rodriguez. Had a good talk about the Sierra Leone boys we have coming on board. Again, with Coach Kano, look at Kai's face. He's thinking, man, I hope I get to be this energetic when I get to be Coach Kano's age. Because Coach Kano never stops, man.
Oh my God, he's amazing.
Good stuff. With Kim and Sarah, again, always coming back, showing us love. We appreciate it. Oops. With Rick and Kyber, who are both on this call, our communications department. They make the magic happen behind the scenes, man. They're huge soccer fans as well.
Love it.
In our hallway, athletic hallway, we have all pictures of all Americans, and this is one of them. You posing in front of, how many years was this ago? Back in 2005 when you were a sophomore.
Yeah.
Again, with the fellas. You've been back talking to them.
Doris, baby.
And these are free shots of Kai being honored at our CCAA Hall of Fame ceremony in Carson. With our Commissioner Mitch Cox. Again, with the team and Eddie, giving him a jersey, number 16. With the members of the women's soccer team were able to make it that day as well. Coach Eddie Soto. With the fam, Sharon and the 3 kids. And here's some of his highlights at Dominguez. In 2 years, he did a lot, culminating with the 2020 Hall of Fame inductee from the conference. Professionally, here's his MLS highlights. We mentioned that Wando is leading. Kai is 5th currently in all time, and he's the first MLS player to score for 8 different teams. The next closest is 6. And here are the MLS teams he's played for. And as we always say at Dominguez, once a Toro, always a Toro.
Nice job, Mel. I'm not crying, you're crying.
No one's crying. Kai, you're not crying, are you?
I'm not crying. My eyes was heavy. Mel, thank you so much. It's man, I've aged that much, huh?
Not at all.
I used to weigh, what was it? I used to weigh 165. I was like, yeah, this is, muscle. Now I weigh 190.
You look more around 140 in some of those pictures, I'd say. All right, is there any other questions for Kai? We're kind of down to the wire here. Just want to make sure everybody has an opportunity if somebody has a question for him. All right, Kai. I think we're going to let you go. I want to thank Kei Kamara for his time today. I certainly hope you enjoyed this discussion. We'll share your thoughts with us. We'll be sending a short survey out tomorrow to get your feedback. Kai, take care of yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Seriously, it's not just about Cal State Dominguez Hills. I see some heart hands going up from my folks, but just about the family, really. I know, like, for example, whenever I play against Chris Wondolowski, because we actually ended up playing together once in Houston, and one of the things, obviously, CCAA was what we shared. CCAA was, something that we wanted to imprint inside of the MLS. That's why I'm so proud of him. You know, he's #1 in MLS goal scoring. And whenever we see each other, we're always, you know, giving our 2 claps or 2 fingers up, saying, you know, for Division II, CCAA, we're always doing that because, you know, we represent, you know, you guys, we represent all the players and all the staffs and people that work, you know, in all the schools around the CCAA and Division II in general, because it's really, you can do whatever you want, you know, you can do whatever you want if you push yourself. And that's the kind of motivations that we take with us. Don't just think you guys are not, you know, existing in our careers, because you are. And please, you know, continue to pass that knowledge around and love to the other, you know, young people that are playing sports in school, because, you know, what you guys did for us really has helped us become, you know, me become a man today. So thank you guys. And hopefully this is not just it. One day we can all be in the same room without masks, and so we can celebrate.
For sure. Well, you make us proud, Kai. Love to your family. Give them all a big hug.
Heart-shaped hands. Thank you. Thanks,
Be
guys.
well, everybody. Wear your masks.